So I've been driving a Jeep Grand Cherokee for the better part of the past 5 years or so. Been making a ton of content on it, starting with my 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee Altitude, eventually upgrading, going to a Scat pack for a few months, and then back into a Jeep SRT for the past two and a half years. And now into this 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee. So I think if there's anybody that has any kind of qualifications to talk about this, I do think I could probably rank fairly high on that scale. So I am excited to go through this and tell you what it's like to actually live with one of the newer models, or the WL version versus the previous WK2. Now my first opinions on this was, hey, that thing looks like a mom car. It's pretty ugly. It has a turnstile dial kind of thing, which we'll get into later in the video, which I'm not too fond of, but I do have to say that I am loving this vehicle so far. Obviously this Jeep is pretty much bone stock at the moment. It does have a 5% brow at the top, and I want to say maybe 35% or 20% tint on the side, somewhere around there. On the front too, that's all it has. Everything else is stock. We even got the front plate on this. Now, if you are in the market for one of these vehicles and you're interested in possibly getting the 3.6 liter V6 engine, I'm gonna go ahead and say, go ahead and do it. That engine is tried and true. I had it on my 2018. My parents have it on their Jeep Wrangler and their Jeep Gladiator. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it is a great engine. Now, as far as technical specs go, I'm not gonna go super into depth. Basically, a little bit under 300 horsepower. Obviously not meant to be a crazy race vehicle. Going from a Jeep SRT to this, it's obviously a noticeable difference as far as torque goes and as far as power goes. But overall, this drives so smooth, and it really does have more than enough get up and go, which was one of my concerns when I was going from the 392 V8 into a V6 once again. And another super common issue that we've had on the previous generation of the Jeep Grand Cherokee is the gas fill up. Now on this one, you don't even have a button to open it up. You just go ahead and press it in and it pops out, and you got yourself your little gas tank. Obviously we don't have any gas cap on this one still, so I haven't even filled it up yet, which we'll talk about later. That's a great thing. So since this is the Altitude package, it has pretty much everything kind of blacked out across the board. There's not really any chrome on it, which is one of the reasons that I was willing to consider silver. You guys are probably like, hey, why would you get a silver one? You know, you like the cool sporty vehicles. Why didn't you go black? Why didn't you go white again? I've had white and black on every one of my Jeeps, and you know, this just kind of worked out as the deal that it was, which we'll talk about in a future video. But you guys can see it looks good from the back. You got that little plate down there where you normally have a tow hitch. On mine, I don't have the tow hitch towing package. Not really something I need, so I don't really care. But like I said, we'll talk about the costs and why I went with this one in a future video. If you are subscribed to the channel, then you will be aware of that. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you click the subscribe button down below right now to be notified when new videos go live. We're about to be going hard with the new Jeep and making a ton of new content because nobody else is. So yeah, your boy's got to come back and start making content again. You know, what a shame. I know, I'm sure you're so sad to see my face back on here talking about Jeep Grand Cherokees, but yeah, we got lots of work to do. Now, if we open up the back here, one thing that I will note is there's almost more space in the back cargo area of the new WL versus the WK2. I mean, I can kind of get in here, and like, I'm 6 feet tall and I fit pretty well. It's really not too bad. It feels like there's more space here, and the car feels like it looks longer, but then when you actually put it in a place, it seems like it's shorter. Like when I pop this thing in the garage, it feels like there's more room than there is with my previous one. Then down here you get the same kind of pop-up kind of thing, except this time I don't think it locks in. At least this one doesn't. I don't know what's up with that. I guess it kind of does, but it doesn't really click in at the bottom, which is kind of a concern for me. Also, there's no buckets in mine, so if you guys know where to get some buckets, let me know, because I definitely need some buckets for this. Got your spare down there. You know, it's all disgusting. And yeah, so it's pretty much the same thing as a WK2, except a little bit different. And yeah, we'll get into some of the things that are better, but you do get a little button here that lets you adjust where it stops for the tailgate, so that's kind of cool. Now, real quick before we jump in and start talking about some of the cool stuff inside in the back seat and in the front seat, of course, these wheels and tires are just the standard 20-inch ones that come on the Altitude. I'm not a super big fan of how these look, honestly. They're kind of but they do kind of match the thickness that you need on one of these. But maybe this will be changing in the future, coming soon. Stay tuned and we will see. But yeah, there's the Altitude wheels. Like I said, everything's kind of blacked out across the board. Now the moment you've all been waiting for, the interior. We'll start on the back. You guys can see that this thing is the reason that you would upgrade to one of these Grand Cherokees. Now, the previous WK2 model, in my opinion, looks a lot better, but this one is definitely growing on me a little bit. It's definitely coming along. And there's a nice American flag on there, which I do appreciate, of course. But yeah, when you jump inside here, it is really, really nice. Now the door card is pretty similar. You know, it's got this kind of standard metallic flake looking piece, which I don't really mind. So saves me some work not having to wrap that from some weird wood or something like that. Down here on the floorboards, we do have some little floor mats that don't even go to this car. Those will be going soon. Don't worry about that. But yeah, underneath, you know, it's pretty standard as far as carpeting goes. Interior, you get this nice leather and suede Alcantara that I was saying, which is a great option, which is why you would go with the Altitude over the cloth seats in the Laredo. But it's nice. You know, it's standard Jeep Grand Cherokee stuff. You got this nice dirty cup holder back here. This thing needs a little bit more of a detail since we did just pick it up not too long ago. Yeah, but down here we've got a nice power outlet, which is always good for laptops and stuff like that. We've got 4 USBs, 2 USB-Cs, and 2 regular. And then, yeah, it's pretty standard back here. It's just a Jeep Grand Cherokee, like I said, and an Altitude package, which is one of my favorites, of course. Now, without any further ado, let's jump into the front driver's seat where all the action is going to happen. And like I said, be the reason that you would upgrade to one of these Jeeps if you were thinking about it. Now, on the side, very, very standard. Once again, Altitude, you got your automatic or your powered mirrors, which that's another nice thing about the newer Altitudes. You do get the blind spot monitoring. I don't know if it's on all of them or if there's just like a premium preferred package, not 100% sure, but I think it's pretty standard. Don't quote me on that. Heated mirrors, power mirrors, you know, that kind of good stuff. I don't think they're power fold though, you know, they might be, who knows anymore. I've never tried that. But yeah, your standard stuff over here. This is really nice because it will actually light up the lock button and the unlock depending. And then once you jump inside the cabin, this is where you really kind of get the features. Now on the Grand Cherokee Altitude, you get a smaller screen than if you got like a Summit or anything like that. So this is a slightly smaller screen, but it's still great. Has wireless CarPlay. It has a wireless charging pad down here, 4 more USBs, an aux, and then just a standard little 12-volt outlet plug. One of the major complaints about this is this kind of black material. It's like that gloss black, so it scratches pretty easily. There's a decent amount of scratches on this, but I don't really notice it too much. But it's definitely nice to kind of have this like cockpit feel where you get this big center console and kind of a nice center stack. Cup holders down here, again, pretty nice. I did like on the Grand Cherokee the little pop-out adjustable one so that you could actually keep drinks there. But it lights up and everything really nice in here. And then of course you got your turn dial, which is absolutely disgusting. Since it is just a base model kind of Altitude, we don't have any other fancy switches. Like I said, we'll talk about why I went with this one in a future video, so stay tuned for that if you're not already tuning in. Got your center console here with a nice padded bolstered piece. Flip it up, you've got a small storage and a ridiculously deep kind of sketchy storage that's not very nice, with no outlets or any plugs or anything in there, which is kind of interesting. Now as far as going up here, you've got all your vents are kind of up on this upper level, which is a little bit different than previous. Normally they'll kind of be in this area, but yeah, they do work fairly well. Honestly, I'm always cold in this thing. I can't get the temperature right, but hopefully soon we'll figure that out. We got some buttons up here. We've got our start stop, so you guys know we'll have to eliminate that at some point. You know, I'm not a big fan. You've got your blind spot, whatever, so you can't leave the lanes. That's always off, of course. Your traction, your hazards, your parking sensors, which are only in the rear, by the way. That is another thing that I did lose from the SRT is those front parking sensors, which I did enjoy, but it's okay. They are on the back. You can turn them off here. And then, of course, the sport mode button, which, you know, who knows what that really even does. Down here, you got your heated steering wheel, your heated seats for front and passenger seats, your mute button, your screen, and all that. And I think all this feels good and looks really good. It's nice and sleek and kind of modern. And then the one thing that I'm a little questionable about is this is your vent button, like up and down to adjust like the fan speed, which is, I don't know if I like that. I'm kind of used to a dial. So start stop button kind of looks a little bit girly with this. I'm not gonna lie, this kind of area around it almost looks like a like sparkly bedazzled thing, but you know, it is what it is. Steering wheel here, which is the real reason that you would be going for this. I'm not gonna lie, this is a great feeling steering wheel. It's like that smooth leather feel like I like and that I was looking for. It feels really new and modern and fresh. It does have paddle shifters. They're kind of like micro paddle shifters, really half-ass. I haven't even used them, probably won't, but there they are. And then you've got all your different settings here for like cruise control and stuff on this side, and then navigating your menus here. And then of course you have your little buttons on the back that let you go up and down. Is interesting that there's a turn signal over here, and then you actually have your wipers over here. It's more like a car. I don't think I've had a vehicle that has that. Quote me if I'm wrong, if the Charger had it or something, but I don't remember ever having a wiper setting on the right side. I've always had everything in just one over here because the push start was over there, but I guess because they moved it, I'm not sure. Down over here, they got all your different lighting settings and your interior and exterior lights. Your parking brake is actually just a pull right here, so that's kind of cool. And then you obviously have your full digital dash. So if we go ahead and start her up, you can see it's completely silent basically, but you do get this really, really nice front center dash here. It's all digital, so that's really cool, and you can kind of switch through here and go to different modes. You got that one there, and then you can hold OK and go to a digital version, which just looks like this. I like the analog look because it's still digital and still got the speed in the middle. Like I said, this screen is not the bigger one, but it does do well. You get the nice wireless CarPlay, like I said, so you can go ahead and connect your phone on here and control your music, your maps, all that good stuff, which is one of the features that I did actually want. And like I said previously, if you open this guy up here, you can actually pop your phone into here, and it has a wireless charging pad. You'll know if it's working indicated by this little light right here. So you can see it's kind of a little funky. You need to get it to the right spot for it to actually turn on. We'll see if we can get it to.
2 hours later.
Anyways, it doesn't want to charge right now, so I'm not going to fight with it. I'm going to continue on with the video. But if you do see here, this is where we have our shifter, which, like I said, is a little bit interesting because it's a turn dial. But the thing that I was thinking, it was going to feel more like one of these buttons where you're just kind of adjusting the volume, but it's actually, it has a little bit of a click to it. It almost feels like you're actually shifting. So when you turn it, you do get a little bit of a feedback response. I'm not sure what that beep is yelling at me about, but you can see there's the backup camera. Looks decent. I mean, it's a standard Jeep one. It doesn't look super crisp or anything. It's pretty standard. You got your neutral and your drive, of course. It drives really great, and that's the best part about it, is everything's super nice in here. It drives super smooth, and you don't really have to worry about anything. Like I said, I do have 23,000 miles on it now. I think it had just around 23 when I bought it, so I've already put about 400 miles on it in the past few days. And I can tell you that the gas mileage on these V6 is phenomenal. You can see here, almost 2 hours of driving, all city, 41 miles, 19.3 miles per gallon. It was actually around 2021, but I've had it kind of sitting around doing different stuff like this. I actually had a previous trip where I went for around 2 hours of straight driving, around 135, 150 miles, somewhere around there, and we averaged just over 26 miles per gallon. So that's incredible for me, going from around 13 to 15 in an SRT on a good day with premium gas to using regular gas, and you know, all those cost savings. So that's phenomenal. Like I said, I'll have another video talking about gas mileage on this V6 and kind of going over how you can improve it, or if it's worth it based off of that. And of course, we'll be going in depth with all the menus and screens and all that stuff. So if you do want to see that, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure you smash that like button down below. I'll catch you guys in the next video. I only got one life, I'm trying to live my shit. Minding my business as usual, I don't want nothing to do with the outside. How about the whip with a beautiful bitch? I've been too busy thinking about mine. Don't care what you be doing, I've been too busy thinking about mine. Back then shit was too bad, I was on the wrong path going too fast. Used to let the plug house hold